Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a very factual podcast. We're your hosts, Kayla.
And Izabella, and this Premier League match week, we really only had two big games, so we're going to try to stretch this episode out as much as we can, and we'll actually start it off at the Emirates, where Arsenal took on Crystal Palace on Saturday.
Yes, so Arsenal celebrated their amazing 5-0 win against Crystal Palace at home with Gabriel scoring early in the 11th minute. Then, in the 37th minute, Crystal Palace's Henderson scored in the wrong net, putting Arsenal 2 goals ahead at the end of the first half. Second half begun and Trossard scored 15 minutes later. It looked as though Arsenal would finish the game 3-0 until added time when Martinelli scored 2 goals only 1 minute apart, causing Arsenal fans to celebrate when the final whistle blew. Honestly, I have to say this was an expected win. Like Crystal Palace, bottom half the table. They were in 13th, I think, before this loss.
Mm-hmm.
And Arsenal, yes, they've been a little rocky recently, but they're getting better. We saw recently that they've kind of stretched their wins, but you knew they were gonna win this game.
Yeah, I think they got a big result, right? And they've had some
Mhm.
bad performances. Like, after Christmas time, they've got some bad results. But I think you could say that Crystal Palace was really bad in this game, and that's
Mhm.
what made Arsenal look so good, because Crystal Palace have not been on it for, like, a while. And the game was really one-sided. Like, Arsenal needed to get back to winning, because if they want to compete with Liverpool and Man City, they have to be at like this consistent rate. And like you said, it was expected just because of how bad Crystal Palace were. And now what Arsenal needs to do, they need to build like off this win and keep putting results together to maybe keep up in this title race somehow.
Yeah, Arsenal recently, like you said, they were kind of like going downhill after Christmas, but
Mm-hmm.
now they're starting to realize like, hey, we got to get better if we're gonna be playing Chelsea and Liverpool for like a spot in the top four. And
Not really
looking at
Chelsea, but
oh no, Chelsea, not Chelsea. I meant
City.
City. I meant City.
I
I meant
wish.
City. But I'm looking at the stats right now, and like I expected a little more from Crystal Palace because usually they do pose a threat, but they were just really
They've
bad
been
this
really
game.
bad for a while now. Like,
Yeah,
something's off.
like the shots compared was um 21 for Arsenal and 12 for Crystal Palace. Like that's like almost double the amount of shots,
Yeah,
and it's
for
just
real.
like that shows how little Crystal Palace really brought to the table this game.
Yeah, literally, like, I think it was when Arsenal got their third goal or something. Crystal Palace fans had, like, posters and, like, these flags ready, and they were literally protesting mid-game, saying how there's no structure in the team, there's no plan, like, mid-game, like, they expected it 100%, and I just thought it was really funny because they
Yeah,
literally hate their ownership.
no, yeah, I know. Like honestly, I'm just gonna say, like, this game though, it was expected to how it was. There was nothing else to say. I mean, Crystal Palace, they've just been like they're kind of like a joke now a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because you everyone knows they're gonna kind of win against them now. Like, sure, maybe a little bit more difficult in some games, but like people are like protesting, like you said. It's just not a good look for them right now.
Yeah, and, um I think a negative that I have for Arsenal, something I have to say about them is that if they want to continue in this title race, they're gonna struggle because they have a lack of goal scorers right now.
Hmm.
And Arteta said that they're not signing a striker in January, which like puts down all those rumors to all those strikers they were linked to. They got 5 goals in this game, but you knew that. You knew that they were gonna get something out of it. They just need to what they have to hang in there because and their wingers need to start scoring because they I feel like a lot of their forward line is out of form. And okay, I I'm gonna compare them to Liverpool. Like you see Liverpool, they
Hmm.
don't have like a Holland number 9, if that makes sense. Like they
Yeah.
don't have that main guy, but they have players who contribute all around the field. Like their whole forward line can score anytime. Like if it's not Salah, then it's Gakpo. If it's not Gakpo, then it's Diaz. If it's not Diaz, then it's Jota. If it's not Jota, then it's Nunez. And that's what Arsenal need to build because they literally overwork their main players. Like they overwork Martinelli. Saka has been a really big one. and they don't have any good, solid replacements for the star players when they're out of form.
Yeah, I mean, like I was about to say, like Martinelli, he's a bit of a goal scorer, but like you said, he's gonna get overworked. He's gonna burn out like Saka did.
Yeah.
So they gotta find that striker that like they can't really depend on, or they can have all those players around the field where they can, you know, work together and score. But at this point, like you said, they're not gonna be signing a striker, even though they want to.
Yeah,
We'll
because they
just,
have no money. They literally have no
yeah,
money.
yeah, they don't. They already spent it or like used
On
it on other
Declan
things.
Rice,
Yup. I mean,
100 million pounds, but it was worth
I
it.
mean, it was worth it. He
Yeah.
definitely contributed his price and everything.
Yeah, and something I found interesting is that Saka only scored 6 goals this season, and last season he scored 14, and I think he's probably the most overworked and most
Yeah.
overplayed Arsenal player, and I think he's lost some edge. Like, beginning of the season, he was, like, alright, but now it's just I feel like he's not even in the game anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I don't see him.
beginning of the season, I literally loved him. He was amazing. I thought he
Mhm.
was gonna be, like, player of, like, the year and everything. Like, I thought he
Yeah.
was just gonna be amazing, and then he got overworked. He didn't really live up to all the expectations, so there was so much pressure on him,
Mhm.
and he just kinda, like, burned out a little bit. And I don't really blame him because he's still really young, and there was a lot of, like, pressure put on him at a young age.
Yeah, and if we want to be positive, maybe for a change, they got a clean sheet, right? That's a
Yeah.
big thing. I thought David Raya was gonna make a mistake. There was like one opportunity where I thought he was just gonna screw it up, but he didn't. And Leonardo Trossard also looked very good in this game. I feel like we don't really get to see like too much of him, but he looked great, and he really pressed that Crystal Palace net. And now just they have to build off of this, continue these results, and now they're tied points with City. They're both at 43, I believe. And if you get Man City to screw up, then you can overtake them.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is they got the points they needed. They're tied,
Yes.
yeah, like you said, with 43. They're only, what is it, 5 points away from Liverpool, which is top of the
Mhm.
table right now. But, there's only so much that, like, you can be disappointed about. You won the game 5-0. You got what you wanted. This should be like a confidence boost for them.
Liverpool remain top of the table after a 0-4 win against Bournemouth. Darwin Nunez would get a long-awaited goal, breaking the deadlock in the 49th minute. Diogo Jota netted 2 goals 9 minutes apart, and to seal off the win, Darwin Nunez once again scored in the 93rd minute, putting Liverpool 5 points clear of Manchester City. I um I guess I knew Liverpool were favorites, and Bournemouth haven't been super bad this season. Like, we saw what they did to United when they won 3-0, I think it was. And
Mhm.
but the thing about Liverpool, I feel like they're just on a very different level compared to like these mid-table teams. Like, they really changed since last season, and some they had no Mohamed Salah in this game. He is at AFCON, he's representing Egypt, and he recently got injured there, but he's supposed to be fine. But they showed that it looks like they didn't even miss Salah, to be honest with you. Like, this was such like a Liverpool result. This game lived up to expectations. Nunez has been having a bit of a goal drought, and he got some much needed goals today, so hopefully that can boost his confidence. Jota has really stepped up in Salah's absence and has really been great ever since his injury, and this is like the epitome of a Liverpool game. This is like what I expected.
I mean, like, I agree. I feel like Bournemouth knew going into the game that, like, Liverpool, they would be very difficult to beat. And I mean, I watched the first 5 minutes of this game, and then I had to go do something, but I saw Bournemouth, they literally almost scored in the first minute.
Mhm.
Like, Liverpool, I don't think they were prepared to see how strong Bournemouth came out of this game,
Yeah.
but clearly didn't really work out in their favor. But at halftime, it was 0-0, which really surprised me because I
Mhm.
expected goals from Liverpool, but soon they got back on their feet and they scored 4 in the second half. But, like you said, like, I feel like they have those players everywhere on the field.
Mhm.
So if they miss, for example, Salah, it's not gonna affect them too much because you have Nunez, you have Jota, you have people everywhere, and it's not really gonna affect them too much when one or even 2 players leaves because they have that depth.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that Liverpool will really miss Salah for like his little absence right now, but I don't think it's gonna be as bad as people make it seem. Like, they make it seem like they literally have no one to score goals,
They make
but
it
they
seem like
do.
Yeah, they make it seem like how Kane was for Spurs when he was
Yes.
playing Spurs. They make it seem like they only have him, but they don't. There's a lot of players. It's kind of like the same thing for City. Like if
Mhm.
they miss Haaland, sure it's going to affect them a little bit, but they also have that depth. So it's just like you got to realize that like top table teams, it won't affect them too much.
Yeah, like I said for, Arsenal, like, they have Liverpool have really good backups, and they have forward players that can score literally when needed. So I
Hmm.
don't like, I wasn't really, like, afraid, like, that this Salah absence is gonna bother them much. It was just they dominated the whole game. Like, they literally had double the possession that Bournemouth had. They had, like, double the shots. They had 6 shots on target, and it's just, um, I predicted them, uh, when we were doing our, preseason predictions. I
Hmm.
believed that they were gonna finish 2nd, and there was, like, this little time frame where they were doing kind of bad,
Yeah.
and I kinda it kinda scared me a bit, but now they just, like, kinda woke up, and I feel like this title race, has turned from Arsenal flying, being top of the table at Christmas, to a literal replay of the 22-23 season when Liverpool and Manchester City finished a point apart, and Chelsea finished 3rd, but that has nothing to do with it, but just gotta say that, like, that season, I Liverpool had 92 points and Man City had 93, and I feel like this is the type of season this is gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like the first two is going to be kind of like a replay of last season because, like you said, like they started off kind of weird, and then they had well, not, but they had that weird kind of like spot where I
Yeah.
thought they weren't gonna pick back up, but they did, and we also saw that in Man City. They had that weird
Mhm.
little time, and they're picking it back up right now. They're on their way back to the top, but there's going to be like I feel like last month of Premier League, there's going to be constant switching between Liverpool and City, and you just don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, because I genuinely think they are the 2 strongest teams in the Premier League.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like Arsenal's squad, it's not as experienced.
They're very young.
Yes,
I feel
as
like once they get older, they're gonna be
oh,
like a
yeah.
Liverpool, how they are now, because they're gonna have more experience on the field.
Yeah, and they're doing really good for a really young team. So,
Mhm.
I feel like they can achieve something in the future. It's just like Arsenal and Liverpool, I feel like I mean, Arsenal and Spurs, I feel like they don't have as much depth as City and Liverpool, and I feel like Liverpool and City are almost in their own bracket. It's like they the players that they have and the depth that they have, they're just I feel like they're way ahead of so many Premier League teams.
Yeah, like you said, they have that depth and everything, and I feel like Spurs, we saw once they lost, like, Son or something, it's
Mhm.
yeah, they can kind of work their way through it, but they're very insecure on the field, and it just shows how much of, how, like, confident really City and Liverpool are. They're like you said, they deserve their own bracket almost.
So those were our 2 highlighted games that we just looked at, but I feel like we don't really shine a lot of light on the mid-table teams unless
Yeah.
they're playing a big side. But something that has happened this week was Brentford and Nottingham Forest, and in this game, the big talking point was Ivan Toney coming back from his 8th-month betting suspension. Sorry. And in this game, he captained the side. He scored a goal in the 19th minute, which was very controversial, don't you think, Kayla?
Mhm. I mean, that goal, I mean, he did something completely illegal to get that goal. He picked
Yeah.
up the foam and he moved it a little closer to the net to get that goal because it was a free kick. But I mean, a lot of people do that, but still, it's kind of
Yeah.
like you just got back from an 8-month-long ban, and that's the first thing you do.
You cheated. You literally
Like,
cheated. Um,
it's not a good show for Brentford. It's not a good look for him. Like, the first thing he does when he comes back is that. Like, that's kinda crazy.
but the thing is, you said it's not a good show from Brentford. I don't think it's a good show on the referees. You have
That too.
4 referees plus referees in the VAR booth with cameras all around, all different types of angles, and you can't see a guy literally picking up the spray foam and moving it somewhere else. Like, come on now.
That's probably gonna be in, like, one of the highlights that some people make because you know
Yeah.
that, like, you see it, it was shown live and everything, you know
Yeah.
that he moved it. It's
Everyone
just
saw it.
everyone saw it, and I feel like maybe if the refs did see, they could have been either too scared to say anything, or they
Yeah.
just thought it wasn't that big of a deal. Cause like, some refs, it's kinda like, "Oh, he moved it, like, what, 2 inches to the
Yeah.
right," but that could actually make a big difference,
But
so
the thing is, the Forest players, they set their wall up where the original foam was. And then when Toney moved it over, that like changes the whole thing. He found a little pocket in the net that made it a lot easier for the ball to go in. If he didn't cheat, I don't think his free kick would have gone in. I think it would have maybe hit the Brentford wall or it would have gone out of bounds. And
Mhm.
he just found that perfect pocket and, I feel like we've seen a lot of teams do this. I feel like it's quite almost normalized because, it's a little cheeky move. Like I remember I've seen like Luka Modric do it a couple times at Real Madrid and it's like but the thing is you come back after 8 months and you do that. Like come on, dude, play fair.
Like, also the fact that he didn't get suspended because of something that he did on the field, it was because of gambling, but, like,
Yeah.
to be fair, still, you did something, it's a bad look that the first thing you do is that, and I know that it's been kind of normalized, but also, like you said,
Forest.
the Forest's wall was right in front of them, like, blocking the net. If he moves it,
Mhm.
like, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, then it affects the entire play, and he found that little pocket, like you said, and it went in. Like you said, I don't think it would have gone in if he didn't move it, and I feel like that's the main reason why that foam is kind of there. It's not kind of just like, "Oh, pointing in this general area, here, put the ball there." It's like, they made that so you can't go past it.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do now. They can change it to like tape or something, or like spray paint. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
actually I feel like that would be a good idea.
but
Spray
then
paint,
but then they have to, like, wash it off between every single game.
whatever. I mean, it's better than cheating and moving foam.
True, true.
Like they're all calling it the foam gate now. Like that's
Yeah.
literally no one cares about the result of the game. They're just all talking about Ivan Toney's cheating.
Well, yeah, because he just came back from a suspension and he already
Yeah,
cheated. Like, I feel like it's so difficult to cheat in soccer,
yeah, because
but
there's
he
cameras
did.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like an open field. You have four referees. You have 22 players on the field. You have the subs, you have the coach, and you have the VAR booth who has a million angles, but never the right one when they have to check it. Um, but they got the win, but I think it could have been tied if that foam gate didn't count.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is what it is. You kind of knew that it would be kind of a close game because 'cause they're both
Yeah,
mid-table teams, but, there's not much else that you can really take away from this game.
yeah, and that's all we have for you guys today. I have to go catch a Buffalo Bills game soon. So yeah, next week I'm pretty sure we're back to like, normal Premier
Mhm.
League schedule. So we'll see you guys then.
Yes, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Please follow our Instagram and YouTube at Very Factual Podcast.